Hello viewers, here is a RadioShack telephone. Kind of an interesting telephone because this is a standalone unit. There's no base and there's not supposed to be. The intention here was you just sit it down like that on a table and the hook switch would get pressed in when you put it down and it would hang up. And so that was it. No cradle. You have an RJ11 plug that would go into the wall, and then when it was in better condition there would have been a coiled section here. Although I imagine even when it was new this cord was still a bit of a pain because there's nothing keeping this from not tangling up. So, I'm not sure this is really the best design, but it's certainly an interesting concept. It's a shame that the cord is in bad condition because it's not really easily replaced. It's hardwired in there, and while I'm sure I could change that out, trying to find a wire like this where it's coiled at the beginning and then not at the end is going to be difficult, if at all possible. I suspect this dates back to the 80s or the 90s. It's got that neat old RadioShack logo to it. For the most part the buttons still work, or they seem to feel like they should work. They're a little bit sticky but nothing major. Not sure how this would come apart. It doesn't seem like it would come apart easily unless there's maybe screws under there. Got two ringer settings. It says privacy. I don't know if the star key also functions as the mute key. I don't know how that works. Also not sure how the redial button works either. If pound functions as redial. It's possible that this is a pulse dialing only phone and that those two keys, while they're labeled pound and star, are not really pound and star. They're just redial and privacy. Nobody ever put your phone number on there. Definitely looks like it's got a lot of use on it. The end here is all scratched up from where it would have sat on the table, and there's quite a bit of wear, so probably has a lot of hours on it. So that's probably for the ringer. So let's go ahead and plug this thing up and hear what it sounds like. Because it's got the plug on there already, I'm just going to plug it in over here because I can't find where I put the other thing. Oh, here it is. I found it. I'll use this to couple it together. Oh, this is breaking. I gotta fix that. Okay. Well, it made a little bit of a sound and that was it. Starting to go. What a terrible ringer. Let's try the low. High. What a horrible ringer. That may be the absolute worst ringer I've ever heard out of all the phones I've used. That is shrill and obnoxious and super unpleasant. Jeez, that alone would be enough for me to never use this telephone. So the last thing I want to do is hear that every time the phone rings. Ugh. What a terrible ringer. Good grief. I'll just turn that junk off. Alright, well, let's see if it makes an outside call. Sounds like it should. Okay, see, it's pulse dial. Looks like it's working.
Financial needs today and for years to come. People's United Bank N.A., member FDIC. Today is Tuesday, February 20th.
Okay, so that means this key will never produce the pound frequency, but it should do a redial.
Good evening. Unlock the value in your home with a home equity loan from People's United Bank, member FDIC.
Okay, so that's working. Actually sounds really good. I think the sound quality is really good on this phone. Just can't use the daggone ringer, that's all. Alright, let's go to the mains and we'll record a testing messages, or probably just one in this case.
1 new message and 5 old messages. Message 1.
This is a test of the worst ringing telephone I have ever heard. This is the RadioShack Horrible Ringer telephone. Testing the 1, the 2, the 3. I don't hear much of any side tone on this telephone, so I don't know if the pickup is poor or if that's just the way that it operates. The incoming sound quality to me sounded quite good. I would go as far as to say it sounded above average to me. And it was interesting to hear a pulse dial. I have not dialed out pulse regularly in quite a few years. I used to use pulse dialing a lot in the 2000s because I thought it was cool. And then I kind of stopped using it over the years. I guess I could go back to it. There's no reason not to. Fortunately, the partner ACS PBXs will still read, even the newer versions, will still read a pulse dial and convert it to tone and send the tone to the outgoing line. So you can still use pulse dialing in this configuration with the newer telephone lines, the VoIP lines, which almost never support natively pulse dialing, which is kind of surprising to me, especially now considering the audience that still has a landline telephone is likely older people that have older telephones. I guess it's just been long enough since rotary dial telephones have lost popularity that they don't expect anybody to have them anymore, and if they do happen to have one, they expect it to be replaced. I do find it odd, however, this is not the first time I've seen it, but I find it kind of odd and quite frankly kind of ridiculous that this is a pulse-only telephone, yet still has the asterisk and pound keys. They really should have just replaced them or left them blank so that it wasn't confusing. Over and out.
End of messages.
Okay, so it does in fact have surprisingly good audio, incoming and outgoing. Exceptionally good on the incoming side to my ear, which I wasn't expecting. I always thought these were kind of like cheap, budget-orientated models, but I guess it goes to show even the cheap products back in the day were still vastly superior to what we have now. It's too bad this phone has such a bad ringer, because it talks pretty good. I guess I could always just use it with the ringer off.